It took too long. It took too long. It took too long for you to call back. And normally I would just forget that. Except for the fact it was my birthday. My stupid birthday.
Sorry, you may have accidentally clicked on an Ali and AJ song instead of a podcast on
You were
cowbells.
supposed to keep singing. You were supposed to continue it.
Oh, well, you could have told me that
I
beforehand.
pointed at you.
You pointed at me. I thought I would make the joke of, hey, if you're listening to this on like Spotify, you could probably like scroll to the side and suddenly that song is there.
What?
But this is a podcast instead.
Are
Sorry.
you saying that it sounded so much like the
Yeah,
original?
I was worried about copyright.
Yeah. Welcome, everybody, to the DCOM Duo podcast.
I'm Benji.
I'm Kelsey.
We're the DCOM duo.
Podcast.
Yeah, we are podcasters by hobby.
My hobby, not at all for money.
Oh,
We get weird emails that are like, oh my gosh, partner with me or something. I like your podcast. And we're like, no, who are you?
we're not doing this for the dollar bills. We probably would if there was a market for it, but
We're not
we're
nearly
happy with
popular.
anyone that is listening anyways.
Yeah.
And that's you currently. So, thank you.
Thanks.
Yeah. Today we're talking about cowbells.
Yeah.
Cowbells is a Disney Channel original movie, which, believe it or not, that's what we cover here.
Mm-hmm.
And we both kind of think it's pretty good.
It's pretty good. I will say, this is a movie I definitely knew about when we were kids.
Mhm.
I had heard of it. I never watched it until we watched all of them, which is kind of crazy, but I don't know. I just never did. And so this is only my second time watching it. And
Imagine saying that about a DCOM, just generically.
it was way too hard of it. And I'll say my ranking at the end of the episode. Too harsh. I think it's too harsh because rewatching it when we did a couple days ago, like I like it more than
Mhm.
I did the first time. So
Yeah. I think I watched a scene or two of this as a kid. Definitely, maybe not the whole thing. I don't remember watching the whole thing, but I do remember maybe it was just the ads of them getting like splashing milk everywhere. This is a very goopy movie, and
mhm.
rarely like a goopy movie that I'm okay with, even though the goops are still just a weak point.
Yeah, and definitely
I'm
like not
fascinated by
necessary.
goopings, like conceptually, but I never think they're entertaining.
Yeah.
But yeah, Cowbells is interesting. It's a film that I think only works because it has the low expectations of a DCOM. Otherwise, I'd be kind of like pissed at the way some of the characters are written. How our main character basically goes through all of her story growth in like 5 minutes in the first 15 minutes.
Yeah.
And that's like kind of the plot is just the end result of that, which is interesting.
Mhm.
But yeah, uh, Cowbells though kind of a fun time. Yeah. So should we get into fan mail?
Oh my gosh. We got real life fan mail. And what's crazy is that we were gonna record this episode a couple days ago, but we ran into audio issues, and so we had to delay it.
Yeah.
And if
Side note on that, real quick. If we have bad audio for this episode,
so
apologies.
sorry.
We're trying something new because our old method fundamentally does not work with the software anymore.
Yeah, the software is being weird with the computer updates, so now we're just trying something new. If it sounds bad, sorry.
In
We'll work
in
on it.
theory, it might sound better. This is the more recommended way of doing things,
That's,
but we don't need to get into the details.
um, so if we had recorded this when we wanted to, we wouldn't have seen the fan mail and been able to read it for this episode because we only got the email today
Yeah.
that we're recording. So it was fate, actually,
Mhm.
so that we could include it in this episode. So the subject title is Not Ben's Mom,
Pretty
which
crazy.
is cute. 'Cause we used to only get fan mail from Ben's
And
mom.
then my mom stopped. She
Yeah,
stopped listening to
she
the
stopped.
podcast.
Um, so this is from Jen. Jen says, "Hey there. I'm a huge fan of the movie podcast, and I've been loving yours. I listen to podcasts all day while I'm working, so I've been binging all the episodes for movies I've seen. I grew up on these movies, and they represent a huge part of my childhood. It's been fun reliving those memories. My sisters and I would be so excited for and never miss the premieres. Back when we had to race to the bathroom and back on commercials because there was no pause or rewind. I may be 4 or 5 years older than you two, so it's been really interesting hearing your takes on the movies and which ones stuck with you more.
I do like. I feel like we should talk within some of these.
Yeah, it's a little bit of a longer email.
Yeah, which we appreciate. We really
Yes.
like hearing outsider thoughts on all of this. Yeah, I think everybody has a different age that they grew up,
Yeah.
like has different takes, different things on what was iconic and not.
Mhm.
We can't be objective about the era that we grew up in. We can be
No.
more objective about certain different aspects, but even then we can't be, you know?
But we can brag that our era was the best because it was the High School Musical era. Um, so cute about the, like, commercials and watching the premieres. Premieres were a big deal for me and my sister too,
Mhm.
but we were able to pause and rewind.
Yeah. The only premiere I can remember and my sister talked about the High School Musical too.
Yeah,
That was a big
I
time, but
remember.
that was big for everyone.
Yeah. Okay, back to the email. I think Lemonade Mouth was the last DCOM I saw. After that, I was too old and cool for Disney Channel. But hey, at least I went out on a banger. Lemonade Mouth was a great movie.
Honestly, Lemonade Mouth may have been my last one too.
I remember watching Lemonade Mouth on Netflix. Like, I feel like I didn't watch it on Disney Channel. I watched it on Netflix.
Yeah.
Crazy. I'm glad you both like Stepsister from Planet Weird because it is the supreme of OG unhinged DCOMs. It's the episode I started with that got me into your podcast. I Fear the Wind and Bubble Ariel in the bathroom sink occupy permanent space in my brain. Showing the straight up death of Bubble Mom and Bubble Dictator was wild. Pop. And they just don't make creative choices like that anymore. And in a follow up email, Jen was like, oh, and I forgot to mention the blow dryers that weren't plugged in is so funny too. Like, yeah, absolutely fun.
Mhm.
I wonder how many of those plots were written in drug fueled all nightmares. I've been meaning to write in for a while, mainly to say y'all are doing a great job and I really enjoy listening.
Thank you.
After the last minisode, I had to write in specifically to stick up for Up Up and Away. I really loved this movie as a kid. I still die laughing at their weakness being tinfoil. That was the funniest shit little 6-year-old me had seen. And it was really cool seeing Family of Black superheroes. Static Shock, not a Disney show, but was the best superhero cartoon, didn't come out until later that year, so Up Up and Away was probably the first time I'd seen black people as the main characters in a superhero story. I know the movie is super corny, but I still love it. I also really appreciate the movies that couldn't contain the gay no matter how hard Disney tried. I should have known I was bi given how much I loved Brink, Motocross, and Cadet Kelly.
Yet there are specific energies in all three of those movies. I like
Just wait until Alley Cat Strike.
that is
Oh my god.
Alley Cat Strike is our take on the
The
gayest
gayest
DCOM.
try not to be gay. I mean, Brink also very heavily has it.
But tension in Brink
Yeah.
so palpable.
Also very cool about, like, the first black superheroes that you saw. Like, that's something to appreciate about Up Up and Away for
Yeah.
sure.
Again, I feel like I just I want to like Up Up and Away. It has many pieces within it that I feel like are fine. I don't think there's anything that's like lost to it. It just doesn't come together to stand out for me. But the thing is, what's great about subjective opinions is other people can have other opinions. You know,
Yeah.
not everything is set in stone. I do think you bring up a good point of their weakness being tinfoil is pretty
That
funny.
is pretty funny.
Like, just conceptually, oh, tinfoil, this is the worst thing in the world. It's very silly. Not kryptonite or anything.
Yeah.
Not like, yeah, it's wild.
Back to Jen. Looking forward to the upcoming Cowbells episode and to the Rip Girls and Pixel Perfect episodes whenever the Wheel of Fate chooses them. Keep up the great work and know it's appreciated. Jen.
Slight spoiler on our DCOM opinions. It is genuinely insane that the two that you pick out are Rip Girls and Pixel Perfect. I don't know if we should just leave it there. I mean,
One
we've
is
hinted at both these
yeah,
before.
one is very highly rated to us and one is very lowly rated to us.
And it's possible our opinions on that will change on a rewatch for these, but also, yeah, like it is. You maybe could not mathematically have picked a wider range.
Yeah, it's so funny. Jen, thank you so much for writing in. It means absolutely the world to us. You're the first like email we've gotten. We've gotten comments on YouTube, which we also really appreciate. But this is the first like long email we got with some thoughts about DCOMs, and it means the world. It's so cool knowing that there are people out there that discover our podcast and listen to us talk about Disney Channel original movies. It's like the exact demographic I was hoping for of just people that liked them growing up. And I love that we're like, what, 60
60
deep,
episodes, yeah.
and people really can just choose the ones that they want.
You don't need to listen to every
Yeah,
episode.
no.
It's really like,
Only we're crazy enough to watch every single one.
although if anyone else is, we love hearing the thoughts. The
Yeah.
amount of times that our night will just evolve into finding some random old YouTube video of someone ranking something in Disney Channel movies.
We love watching people's random rankings of Disney Channel songs and then like get annoyed that it's all just Ross Lynch from Austin and Ally.
They all sound the same.
So yeah, thank you again for writing it.
We do really appreciate it. It's awesome to have received that, and
Yeah.
glad you enjoy the show. We're happy people are listening at all. It's kind of crazy to think about that.
Yeah.
We're talking about movies from decades ago sometimes
Yeah.
that were made for TV.
Yeah, for children. So yeah, if you have any thoughts and want to share them with us, you can email us at thedcomdo@gmail.com. All right, let's cowbells.
Oh my
So
god, that's the movie we're talking about.
yeah, I did the factos today. Crazy.
I know, and you're not going to believe who did the notes.
Also me. No, I'm kidding. We switched it up this week. So let's get into the decom duo facto.
Yeah. This isn't where I'm normally like, I would start saying stuff, but I didn't do the factos. That's just
Nope, you
mentioned.
have to wait. All right. So Cowbells was released March 24th, 2006. It was the 62nd decom.
That is just, again, reasonable.
Yep.
We both knew this movie's existence. We just didn't really watch
I
it.
just didn't watch it. I don't know why. It definitely aired, like, and they would replay it sometimes, but I don't know.
I just think my sister didn't care for this, which is maybe somewhat interesting, but like,
Yeah.
just wasn't there. She really dictated the Disney remote,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm not going to seek out a girl movie when I'm 6 years old.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess I wasn't into the whole like cow farm thing. I don't know. I just never watched it. It's kind of weird I didn't.
Cows, I've come to appreciate them as like an A tier animal, but like as a
Moo.
kid, I don't think they were that high on my list.
That was a moo, not a boo. Um, our director is Francine McDougall.
Francine
She
McDougall.
has directed one other decom. It was Go Figure, which we haven't talked about yet. And there's like barely anything she has done much, and nothing since 2010. So we have Go Figure to look forward to.
Go figure, and her magnum opus, Cowbells.
Yeah. Let's get into our cast. Taylor Callum is played by Allison or Allie Machaka.
I think
I
it's.
should have looked up how to say
You
it.
might want to look up how to say this.
How do I look up how to say it?
Michak. I think it would be like Michaka.
Machaka.
Michaka.
I think it's Machaka.
That sounds right.
Allie Machaka. She's in the band Allie and AJ. I'm going to talk about them later more.
This is the Allie and
Yes,
AJ movie.
the Allie and AJ movie. So this is Allie from Allie and AJ. She's definitely been in more decoms unlike her sister. So she was in Now You See It, which we've talked about. I guess those are only two decoms, but she was in Phil the Future, which was a pretty big Disney Channel show. I loved Phil the Future growing up.
I remember episodes. I think the show was kind of done by the time that I was
It was like
tuning in.
barely before our time, but enough in our time that I watched Phil the Future and I remember watching it.
Yeah. I remember liking every time I saw it.
Yeah.
Which is as much as I can really say.
And some of her a little more recent, bigger projects, she was in Easy A.
Good use for our game.
Yeah. No, so true. Sony plays Easy A with Emma Stone in our game. We can just play cowbells. And apparently she was also in iZombie.
Gotcha. Kind of more of an acting career than I thought, but
Right. Next,
yeah.
Courtney Callum is played by Amanda or AJ Machala.
Michaka.
Way more of an acting career than I expected because I always just see Allie around.
Yeah, I'm looking through this list as you have it. I'm kind of surprised there's this many roles. I really thought this was like it.
I know. And I only put the ones that I would like recognize. And it's more than I thought. So the Lovely Bones movie, she was in that apparently. Secretariat, yes. Steven Universe as like a reoccurring character, but not like a main character. She-Ra and the Princesses of Power, and the Goldberg.
Again, that's a lot more credits than I would
A
expect, and
lot
I'm
more than
guessing
I
there's
thought.
stuff that you didn't put in here too.
Yeah, like she has more. I just put in the stuff that I recognize.
Yeah.
So yeah. And again, in the band, Ellie and AJ that I will talk about a bit. Next, we have Jackson Mead. He's played by Michael Trevino. The biggest thing I saw was the Vampire Diaries. He's like a main role. He plays
I felt
Tyler.
like I vaguely remembered him.
I don't
haven't
watch
watched
it.
Vampire Diaries, but it's popular enough that I've seen either clips or images, and I feel like his face being there makes sense.
Yeah, he plays Tyler Lockwood for anyone who's watched it. I don't know who that is. I haven't watched it. Um, there's also a show that he's a main role in that I saw, Roswell, New Mexico. I don't know what that is, but hey, so another show he did, and there's nothing else I really recognize beyond that. Next, we have Philippe. He's played by Chris Gallinger. He was in Twitches too
Okay.
as Dimitri, which is one of the love interests.
Yeah.
So we will see him again. Side note, this is crazy. Um, when I clicked on it on like IMDb, it's not called Twitches 2 anymore.
No, I saw that
It's
when I
called
was
like
doing
the
this earlier.
Witches of Coventry. What? And it said formerly known as Twitches 2. Why would they change that?
What I'm trying to know, is that actually something, or is that someone on IMDb like fucking around?
I don't know. Well, we'll find out when we watch Twitches.
Yeah, I decided that's just story for another day.
That's later. Chris, I didn't recognize anything else you were in, so Twitches 2,
He's just
looking
love
forward to.
interest.
Yeah. He's not even that cute. I'm sorry, Quiz. You weren't that cute. Also, he was from like Canada. He's not. Maybe he knows French because he's from Canada. But like,
Yeah.
okay. Next, we have Heather Perez, is played by Christian Serratos. I definitely recognize her. She's not like unknown. Her biggest kid thing was Ned's Classified School Survival Guide. She is Susie Crabgrass.
Susie's a fun role in Ned's Declassified.
Yes, good show. It's on Nickelodeon though, so if you don't know it, I
Yeah, so
know
we're not
it's
allowed
alright.
to talk about it.
Yeah, we're done. She was also in all of the Twilight movies except maybe the last one. She is Angela in those.
So anytime a Twilight movie gets played,
Yes, you can play cowbells. Unless it's the last one. I don't think she was in the last one. And finally, she was in The Walking Dead as Rosita. And those are like the big roles. And she's done more, but this is like what I recognize. Next, Reed Callum, the father, is played by Jack Coleman. Right away on his IMDb, I'm like, oh my god, he was in Days of Our Lives. It just pops out at me. It jumps at me. But it was in the 80s, so I don't recognize him. But he was in 117 episodes.
Kelsey's got an uncanny eye to spot people who've been in Days of Our Lives during the brief, like, 10-year window where she was active.
Yeah. Because we were watching the trailers and Rochelle from Selling Sunset, I'm like, she looks really familiar. And I looked her up, and sure enough, she's been on Days of Our Lives. So next for Jack Coleman, he was in Dynasty, which is another 80s show. I don't know. He was in Heroes.
That was a big show.
Yeah, 73 episodes. So I'm like, okay, looks like a big role. Noah Bennett, if that rings a bell to anyone who's seen it. He was in 13 episodes of The Office.
So, like, a pretty big recurring
Yeah,
role.
he played State Senator Rob Lipton,
Oh, that was, like, Angela's
like
husband. Yeah,
fiance. Yeah, and he was
that
like
Oscar
gay.
had an affair with.
Yeah,
Yeah. So not a small arc.
yeah. And he was in 6 episodes of Scandal, and then a bunch of other small stuff.
Well, I mean, that's a lot. That's a lot.
Huh. I mean, he's had a long career.
Very successful TV career with all of that.
Huh. Next, we have Fran Walker, is played by Sheila McCarthy. We just talked about her because she's in Full Court Miracle, of course, and also in Zombies 3. So Benji noted last episode that like she had notable roles in Die Hard 2 and Women Talking. But one thing that wasn't noted last time that I want to note is that she was in Umbrella Academy in the first season as
Gotcha.
Agnes. So, which I enjoy that show. And finally, the last person I wanted to mention, I was clicking around and a lot of the other cast just wasn't in much. But I saw that Melvin Melville, played by Ron Gabriel, he is in Full Court Miracle as
I
well.
know exactly who he was in that
Yep,
time.
he's
Yep.
Coach Simowitz.
The original coach.
The original coach. So
Multiple connections in there.
yep. Different director though, so we can't say it's because of that.
Cool.
Right, now for a fun fact. This one I'm gonna talk about the band, Allie and AJ, a little bit.
Yeah.
So it's just the two sisters. They signed with Hollywood Records in 2005. They released a few albums. They left in 2010. They changed their band name to 78 Violet for a few
It's kind of
years.
weird to change your band name when it's like kind of iconically your names.
Yeah, they went back to Allie and AJ after a little bit. And today they still release music, and they have a new album set to release this year, 2025.
Cool.
Yeah. Some of their bigger songs, especially in the Disney Channel era, are like "Whoa," "Rush," and "Potential Breakup Song."
Yeah, that was what Kelsey did as a cold open. It
Yeah,
was not actually the audio from the song. Don't sue us,
I know.
Allie
I
and
know it
AJ.
was so good.
We're fans. Come on the cast
Yeah,
because we're such good buds.
Ellie and AJ did have a song in this movie. It's called "On the Ride." Cowbells premiered the same day as Hannah Montana.
So this is a non-zero impact on the success of Miley Cyrus's career.
Yeah.
This movie.
hmm there was over 5.8 million viewers tuned in on premiere night. And last thing I saw, weirdly, in 2019, the girls were in an interview and they said they were trying to get a sequel made.
In 2019.
Yeah. So it
That's
would be years later. Like the girls, what are they doing as adults, I guess. I don't know. But I couldn't find anything concrete that it's actually
my guess
happening.
is it's not. I'm guessing
Yeah.
they were just maybe shipping an idea around
Yeah, I
and it
think
never
so.
left a boardroom. But that I'm curious what they could do for a plot there. They're not old enough to do the classic, oh, it's like our daughters now trying the
They
company.
probably are.
Well, I don't think the daughters would be teenage.
Oh, you're right, they wouldn't be teenage. They could be kids though.
They could have kids, but like they're not old enough to do the jobs. But if you did it in like
Yeah.
another 10 years, it would be.
All right. You ready for the Disney Plus subscription?
Oh, it's a huge moment. Let's go.
Super spoiled rich girls Taylor and Courtney Callum, Allie and AJ McChalk. I can't say their name. Have a lot to learn when their dad insists they take a summer jobs at the family's dairy while he goes on a long overdue vacation. While struggling to balance the pressures of popularity, crushes on totally cute boys, and the pain of really growing up, will these cowbells be able to save the family business and become better people in the process?
Yes.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah. Spoiler alert.
Decent description.
Yeah, it's just very classical where it's just giving you the like first act
Yeah,
synopsis.
nothing blatantly wrong.
Nothing. I like these better when they're blatantly wrong. There's more to talk about.
That's
Give us
true.
more Halloween Town.
Halloween Town. Oh, we're coming for you this October, Halloween Town.
I love that we do it for each Halloween because we don't even care about the movies.
I know.
It's funny. All right. Now, since I did the nose, are you ready to jump into the DCOM?
I'm ready to Zombies 3 into the decom. That's what we're watching next.
No.
The third one. Because that's what's her name is in.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
That's what Sheila's in.
Yeah, we've got to do the whole Sheila McCarthy filmography.
Trifecta.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Everyone's favorite DCOM trilogy: Full Court Miracle,
hmm
Cowbells,
Yeah.
Zombies 3.
Zombies 3. And then we're gonna watch Women Talking.
Do you think anyone before me right now had ever said the words in the exact order: Full Court Miracle, Cowbells, Zombies 3?
Someone with a crazy ranking of Disney Channel original movies. Maybe it's not that crazy.
Yeah, honestly, I can at least see an argument for that. Like, yeah, no, I see an argument. That's interesting. I can see these all being ranked at a similar level. Okay, actually into the movie. we start with a screen that says cowbells, and there's a cowbell playing, and they use this weird font, and it's kind of used anytime they did
Yeah.
like text on screen, and it's just like I don't know, country bumpkin
It
font,
was weird. I
but
remember being like, "What the hell?"
it's not actually that important, but it's just well, neither are anything in these DCOMs. We talk about these because we find stuff interesting, even when it's like fundamentally mild.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what. If you're listening to this point, you understand that.
Yeah.
Uh, so we see that I kept writing it's Allie at this point, but that's not her name. Her name's Taylor.
Taylor.
Taylor is doing her driver's test. And for some reason, they zoom in on a sign that says dentist.
Like going through this small town, and it's like, "Here's the dentist," and it's like, "Wait, but does
It's like
that dentist
weirdly,
matter?"
weirdly long side. The dentist has no role in the movie at
No, it's
all.
just like establishing shots of the town, but it was kind of funny. We're like, "Is this about a dentist?"
hmm Uh, but yeah, she's doing her driver's test,
Mm.
and suddenly she turns on the music because she wants to listen to music.
She's like, "I'm bored," and she
Kind of
turns on the
iconic
radio.
behavior.
It is iconic.
The instructor is like, "No," and turns it off. And she's like, don't you know the driver gets to control the music? That's like the rules of the road."
This is a rule.
Yeah. I actually kind of like this intro scene a lot because Taylor is simultaneously like a ditz and dumb, but also very charming, very
Smart.
smart. Yeah.
Ugh,
At this a ditz and smart.
yeah.
Yeah.
She's
But
just very entitled and like
yes.
a rich girl who
And
gets what she
again,
wants.
like she's gonna have all of her character development in like 20 minutes, but
Yeah.
that's to be talked about
Yeah.
later. For now, she is fully in starting character mode of just being entitled, but she is very much just buttering up
Well,
this
she's so
instructor.
charming, and she's like, "You should wear blue more often. It brings out your eyes." And the instructor's like, "Oh my
And
gosh."
she drives by a factory that has a cow next to him. It's like, oh my god, that's my dad's factory. He's so cool.
He's the
Oh my
best.
god. And then her phone rings and it's Courtney. That's her sister.
Yeah.
So she pulls over to answer. Good thing she didn't just flat out answer.
Well, because the instructor was like, "No,
Yeah.
you can't answer that."
So she pulls over to answer it, and they're starting to talk about a dress. We're gonna learn later on more in detail, but Courtney's got a cotillion that she's planning for herself, a
Yes.
big party, a big dance to have.
Yeah, so she's calling because the dress is orange and that's Taylor's color. And so she needs permission from Taylor. And Taylor's like, "Well, let me borrow your shoes and I'll let you wear it." And also, she makes the instructor talk for her because he's like,
Yes.
"Start driving or you fail." And she's like, "Fine, you talk to her."
What a power move.
Such a power move. And then afterwards, after the phone call, he's telling the driver, like, "Yeah, we split up like colors and stuff so that we don't fight." And I think it's kind of a brilliant system. Although, why does it matter if you wear the same color? But they like throughout the movie, you see Courtney wearing like cool tones and Taylor wearing warm tones a lot because it's like those are their established
They make some fun
colors.
directorial choices with
Yeah,
that. Yeah, the costume department was doing a good job.
yeah,
When they have to do these like fashionable girls so they can't wear the same outfit anytime.
yeah.
Yeah. Interesting. Uh so basically that's the driving test. They end the phone call and Courtney's gonna get the dress and it costs $1,000 and she says, wow, that's under my
She
budget.
said it's kind of in my budget. Like she, I remember specifically, she said it was like kind of or almost in my budget.
I'm like, wow, that's so fine. Even though $1,000 for a dress is a lot.
That's a lot of money.
Not even like a wedding dress. Not even that pretty of a dress. Bold take?
Yeah, well, orange isn't my color. I don't think we really see her wear it, do we?
No,
Was
because
she
she
in it?
sells it back.
Yeah, and like she wasn't wearing it on the phone call, was she?
No.
Yeah, so we don't really get to see it.
Yeah. So basically, this is where Taylor explains to the driver instructor about the dance and how important it is to Courtney.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, and like the driver instructor is kind of feeling all the emotions and everything here. And then it's just like, yeah, like that's cool. I love that you're so in care for your sister or whatever, but also you failed the test. You're a very distracted driver. You're good at driving, but like I can't give it to that. And then she
Yeah, he said it's clear you know how to operate the vehicle, but you get distracted so easily. And she's like, "Well, you can't fail me for that, right?" And he's like,
I can.
"Yes, I can." And she's like, "Well, I'm just gonna have to come back like every day, and I'm gonna specifically request you to give me the test." And he folds immediately.
Yeah. He's just like, it's not worth it, which A, valid, but also B, you cannot do that. If you were to fail someone, you need to stop. So yeah, she passed.
She got her license.
So now we cut into the family house. Meet the dad. He is the dad of the family. He's talking to, I wrote down the lawyer. We know this is Bob,
Yeah, so he's a
business
business
partner. The role isn't there.
friend?
He is the villain of. We're just spoiling everything about this movie, but if you're coming into this podcast,
It's
what are
like
you expecting?
so obvious he's the villain, and they don't even hide it.
They
So
don't.
like,
Yeah, they hide it for like 10 minutes,
yeah, it's
and
actually crazy. We'll talk about it when it
yeah,
happens.
it is crazy. So Bob's like, "Hey, you see all these butterflies in your office?
Mhm.
You totally want to take a photo of
Oh
this
my
like
god,
super elusive butterfly,
I
right?"
want to take a picture of that butterfly so bad. It's like my dream.
Well, here is a plane ticket to the Ecuadorian jungle.
What?
Yeah, go and take a photo of it, and you won't have cell service there. Don't worry, everything will be fine.
Oh, you deserve this vacation, my man.
Yeah, Dad's like, I can't leave. Courtney's party's coming up.
And he's like, "Oh, please, she won't care." It's like the biggest party of her life.
She really does care about this, which weirdly enough, she's cool with her dad going on
I know.
the trip.
It's crazy.
But it's because that plot development doesn't work otherwise.
Yeah, they need him to be gone.
There are several things in this movie where I feel like they're just like, please just accept this for the plot. Don't think too deeply.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the dad says, well, I guess I'll go on the trip. So that's his plan. Uh then we see Taylor driving home, and she's so excited about passing the test. She's super happy about it. She has Courtney with her to pick her up from shopping,
Yep.
and apparently they also were supposed to have brought their maid back because the maid drove Taylor to the driving
Yeah,
test.
he's like, "Where's our maid?" And it's like, "Oh, we just left her at the grocery store."
She's gonna taxi home.
And
That's
he's
crazy.
like, "What are you talking about? You're gonna make her taxi home with all of the groceries?"
Hmm.
And they're like, "Oh, sorry, should we go back for her?" And he's like, "Nah."
Yeah. So the girls talk about shopping and how much they love shopping, and
Did you talk about on the car that says like I just
I did not
passed?
mention that.
It's like a banner on the car that says like I just passed my
Got your car
test.
decaled.
And he's like, "What is that for?" Like, did they have that at the DMV? And she's like, "No, I ordered it like last week. And I used my credit card with cash back, so it's blah blah blah. This much money, I'm good at math because
Yeah.
it's shopping."
This is like the fourth DCOM, maybe? It's a weirdly common trend to have, no, I'm actually good at math because I can calculate sales.
Yeah, it's like just like a kid movie trope. Not even just DCOMs,
No.
it's like beyond DCOMs. That's a thing where it's like, "Whoa, I thought you was stupid."
It's a weirdly specific trope. That's
Yeah,
like the popular girl is good at math because she can calculate sales,
yeah. It's
which
like,
is,
"Whoa."
again, just wild.
Or Schlotz with the basketball.
Yeah, he
I
just
can
needs to
learn
be
history.
dribbling a basketball.
I can learn history if I have a basketball in my hand.
Yeah. So the dad's still happy, that Taylor passed. So he's like, hey, I got a surprise for you. Open the garage. You got a car. Wow.
Whoa, this looks just like mom's car.
Yeah. She's like, please don't be like an old classic car, but it is, but it's like restored to
Yeah. So it
beautiful
was
condition.
their mom's
Nice and
car
fancy.
that he restored.
Yeah. But he's like, hey, this car's a stick shift, so you need to learn how to drive a stick first before you can drive it. You're
Yeah.
gonna learn on something that's less costly than a vintage car.
Yeah, which is very smart.
The dad's an intelligent guy.
I would hate being given a stick shift. 'Cause I don't know how to drive stick. Like, is this a good idea? I guess if she learns how to do it, it's
Yeah. Also,
fine.
from what I know, stick is not impossible to learn. It's not
I
that hard.
know, I just don't know. My parents love that they
You ever
know
went on
how.
Amazing Race?
They love being like, "We can be on Amazing Race because we know how to drive stick." Um, also no, their mom is,
Yeah.
and so this was her old car.
Yeah. Classic dead mom plot. Honestly,
Yeah.
not touched on that much.
No, and they
They do.
they
It
just
is not.
sometimes are like,
It's
"Oh, I
not
miss
empty. It's
mom."
not empty,
Yeah,
but it's not a major part of the plot.
yeah.
Don't know when she died in the whole change of things.
I don't know.
So we cut to. I wrote a pig farm, but it's actually I think just
A dairy
a
farm.
dairy
But
farm.
there is a
But there
pig.
is a pig because Jackson, boyfriend number one, uh,
He's just holding a
he's just
pig.
holding a pig. Him and his dad are talking,
Actually
and
so
he's like,
funny.
"Hey, son, Jackson, you're gonna have to teach Taylor to drive a stick shift." And Jackson's like, "Ew, she's gross
Well,
and got cooties."
she's stuck up and selfish and blah blah blah. And then Taylor's like, "Are you talking about me?" Like she shows up. Like, oh my god. And he's still holding the pig.
Yeah. Well, he's like, "Okay, here's the pig," and she just sets it down on the ground.
He's like, "Well, here, hold my pig while I go get the keys or something to the truck." And she goes, "Ew," and just lightly puts the pig down. He goes, "What'd you do that for? What the heck? You put my pig on the
I
ground?"
do kind of appreciate they decided, you know what, we don't need a scene where it's like, oh, you have to learn teach the get a girl how to shift, and then another scene of them meeting. They're just like, let's just put it all in one scene.
Like they already kind of know each other, I think, from school,
Yeah.
probably. Yeah, I thought it was gonna have to be like, do you know her? No, but I know what she's like, and apparently he does just kind of know her,
Hmm.
maybe. But yeah, it's like, oh, we were told she was gonna learn stick from this guy, and it is immediately happening.
Oh.
All right,
So Jackson Taylor get in the truck,
truck.
and it's not going great. He's trying to teach her how to start a car, but they're just squabbling.
He's also like being very hostile towards her, meaning
Yeah.
like he's annoyed and doesn't want to be there. Which I'm like, that's not being a good
Don't worry, they go from enemies to lovers in like no development.
crew.
Um, Yeah. Jackson says, "Oh my God, Taylor, you're rich and pampered. You've never done real work in your life." And Taylor's like, you're mean." And they call a truce off of that.
He's like, "All right, try again." Like he's being nicer to her because she's like, "You're mean,"
That's all she says is, "You're mean."
and he was being
Yeah.
mean.
Yeah.
So then he's like, "Okay, try it this way," and he's being nicer, and then she can do it. But they're driving. She's like, "Oh my god, I'm doing it." And he's like, "Yeah, oh my god, stop the car!
I
I have
thought,
to go check on my cow.
why? No, 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 not Jessica, just Martha.
I have to go check on Martha."
Oh my God, Martha.
She's like, "What?" So she stops the car,
Yeah,
and
she
it's
stopped the car. He jumps out and is like touching touching the cow.
like, I don't get why this was so urgent. Did he just, like, completely forget about Martha? And then was like, "Oh my god, I haven't checked on my pregnant cow today."
There isn't a good chance, like, explanation. Yeah. He goes to check, and Taylor's like, "Well, I don't want to stay here, even though he told me to stay here. I want to see who Martha is." Not knowing even at that point it's a cow.
Yeah, it is a cow.
So he runs out to check on it, and he's like, "Oh, well, Martha's doing good. Also, you put on the parking brake, right?" By the way, we could see the car the whole time they were talking for a brief bit. It wasn't moving, but right when he says, "Did you put on the parking brake?"
It moves
it starts
somehow.
moving.
So, like, the emergency brake or just put it into park?
Maybe that's a stick shift thing. No, but
Maybe,
like I feel like you would have to put it in park. You
right?
know? I don't know.
I don't know how stick shifts work, but, like,
Maybe the car is old and like it needs the parking brake on at all times.
that's weird. Yeah, you're so right, though. It was not moving, and then it was
Yeah.
it should have been, like, slowly creeping the whole time.
But that's probably hard to get right in
Yeah.
a low budget movie.
It goes right into a pond, and
Goes straight into a pond
it
and
sinks down the pond. Like, that pond is so deep,
it's shockingly deep.
like, a foot in. Like, you take 2 steps in that pond, you're drowning.
Yep. So they just watch that happen. Jackson is like genuinely pretty nice about the situation considering he just lost his truck. And Taylor is also just like genuinely feels bad about
She
it.
does. She's like, "I'm so sorry. It's my fault. Like, my dad will pay for
It
it."
is interesting. Taylor is never not genuine in this film.
Yeah.
That's like for a character like hers, it's not something you see very often.
Yeah. It's refreshing.
There's no normally they do just like there's a genuine person underneath a layer of like tending not to
That's
care.
what Courtney is.
Yeah.
Taylor just already is genuine,
Yeah.
which makes sense that it'd be kind of hard to do both.
Yeah.
Especially with their dad gone, it's like they kind of need to motivate themselves a little bit. Like they have a mentor at the factory, but it's nice that like Taylor's already there and she's the older sister, and then she kind of needs to bring Courtney along with
Mhm.
her on the journey.
So yeah, Taylor's like, my dad's gonna haul it out and fix up the car. Don't worry about it. It's
Yeah.
gonna happen. And then we cut to dad doing a spit take at the dinner table. It's like, how much does it cost? And she's like, just $2,500 total.
Yeah, that's a lot. Also the drink that they had, it looked like olive oil. The
It genuinely
color,
might have been, just for like visual purposes.
oh, it probably realistically was more like apple juice,
Yeah.
but I was just like, "Oh, what is that drink?"
Yeah. Uh so Taylor is like, I'm sorry. Like, I know that's bad, but also you're like partially to blame because you made me learn stick shift.
You sent me to go learn like shit from
And
Jackson,
yeah,
and
and
he's
then
mean.
Courtney and Taylor just start talking about how Jackson's like gross, but he's also so fucking
He's
hot.
so
Oh
hot.
my god. Yeah,
Yeah.
and Dad's like, hey, y'all's gotta stop wasting money.
Yeah.
Don't you're gonna have to stop spending. And the girls are like, What?" But this is an empty threat.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. Then we get a short scene of the dad packing for his trip, and he's like, "Hey, you okay with me missing the party?" And she's like, "Yeah, it's fine."
It's fine. Like, I would have had to make you dance, and you're a bad dancer.
Yeah.
And
And
he's
then
like,
he's like,
"Alright,
"Okay, well, remember your budget for the party is guess the number at home."
$25,000." And Benji didn't believe me at first. I'm like, no, she said thousand.
We do learn
25,000.
later it's like a four-person party. I don't know
Yes.
if this is 45,000 each because
It's
that would be
25
insane.
it's $25,000 each.
That's insane.
Because they each contribute equally.
Well, I was wondering if they contribute equally to the portion of.
Nope. He is giving them $25,000 and everybody is contributing $25,000 and they want more. So
That's
this is
insane
a 100K party at least
for like
for four girls at a
15-year
country
old,
club.
14-year-old.
Yeah, because they want ice sculptures and lobster and steak and whatever else.
And this is crazy, and the dad's gonna miss it to go take a
Yeah,
photo of a butterfly.
I yeah, I get like he needs a vacation. I did not miss my daughter's party that like means the world to her.
Again, it doesn't make sense if you dig into it,
But she's cool
but
with
she's
it.
cool with it. So whatever. The next morning, Courtney's trying to like make some soup, but she can't open a can because the can opener is unplugged.
Yeah, she's
Haha.
like, how can I work a computer better than those nerds and not work this can opener? Like they hint that she's good with computers.
And then they do nothing with it except have her make a computer error.
Yeah, but not wasn't actually her messing up on the computer, it's her
Yeah,
messing up in her brain.
yeah.
Because she just typed it wrong because her mind was
We're
somewhere
getting ahead
else.
of
Yeah,
ourselves.
but it's weird. And so Taylor gives her the plug-in and then she opens a can of soup.
And
And
dumps it into a pan.
yeah, and then Taylor's like, "Hey, we gotta go. There's a clothing
Yeah,
sale."
they get a phone call from a friend who's like, "Oh my god, there's an insane sale going on." But they didn't turn the fire off for their soup,
Yeah, so
and she threw a towel onto it and it immediately
yeah.
burst into
They're
flames.
like, "Let's go right now." Throw my towel on the counter, except it's right on the pot and it immediately bursts into flames. Like
You
they
would have noticed before leaving the room.
I get that you're like, "I wanna leave now." Did you really forget about the soup that you just put on the stove?
They can't decide if they want these characters to be smart or dumb.
I mean, I guess they just have ADHD.
Hey,
It's kind of established. It's like, "You're easily distracted, aren't you?"
yeah. So we're driving home with her stuff, and then they see firemen outside of their house. Uh-oh. Uh,
Uh-oh.
So, you want to know what the result of the fire was? Because I found
Yeah.
this really funny for
I
some
also
reason.
found it funny.
Um, like two cabinets are basically painted black.
Yeah,
They're
it's like
completely scorched, terrible. Nothing else in the house is
the
touched.
the fire stayed within this one rectangle of the kitchen, like the little nook
They
where the
clearly
stove
didn't
is.
want to spend the budget to make anything else look different there,
Yeah,
and it's very clearly not how a fire would spread. It's
it's
funny.
funny. It just went up
Yep.
and then it stopped.
Like either they caught the fire early but let it burn in the places that it existed.
Yeah, and the dad's like, "Ah, I can't believe you did this. This was your mom's favorite room." Like they bring up the mom every now and
Yeah,
then.
and because the mom was like the recipe maker for the creamery.
Yeah, that's true.
She's like made so many recipes in here. I miss her. Also, okay, enough is enough. Y'all are taking part-time jobs at the factory.
What?
And the girls are like, no, 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 no. But he's like, nope, it's happening.
Yeah,
Which,
and I'm gonna be gone when you start, so you better do it, even though I'm not here to make you accountable.
yep,
Okay.
okay. um, then it's the next morning. It's 5:30 a.m. and the alarm goes off in Taylor's room. Ring, 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 and she hits snooze. But guess what? The dad's there who does the starting horses get to the gate.
I
Thank
like
you for the
that.
kazooing there.
No, yeah, you're welcome. Definitely a kazoo.
Yeah. Uh it's a noise that comes out of your mouth. That's gotta be kazoo. I don't know why he does that, but he's making sure his girls are awake. So they're there, and he's like, okay, I gotta go catch my flight. So that's why I'm like all ready, revved up, ready to
Yeah.
go.
Their shifts start at 8 a.m. They work 8 to 3. This is what he told them. They wake up at, or was it 7?
I
I
feel
think
like
it
eight
was
to
it was 7.
seven
It
makes
was
more sense.
7 to
You can get up
3.
at 5:30 for
Yeah.
seven. You
But
can't
like
get up at 5:30 for eight.
why do they get up at 5:30 though? To
I
get
mean,
ready for
for
the
the
day?
first day, you might want that much time, but they do get up at 5:30 every day.
Yeah, they get up at 5:30 every
They gotta
day.
go do all their makeup and fashion, even though they're gonna change into uniform.
That's fair. Cuz you know what? They don't really change. They just put a coat over their
Mhm.
clothes. So I guess they would want like an hour to do their makeup and
And then 30
hair.
minutes for transport.
Probably like 15
It's
minutes. I
probably
can't
shorter, but like you
imagine.
have the
Yeah.
wiggle room.
Yeah. So, okay. I guess so. But I remember he's like, you have to work 7 to 3. And she's like, that's earlier than school. And I was like, that wasn't that much earlier than my school. My school was like 7:30.
I think my school starts at 8, but like there were clubs and stuff in the morning.
I would wake up at 6 a.m. every day.
I think I got 6:45 and I was out of the door at 7:15.
Yeah, I gave myself a little time to like do makeup. Also, I just liked being awake and time because I was worried about being late.
hmm
Yeah.
Yeah. So the dad leaves. He's like, "See ya. Don't do anything
Yeah.
stupid."
Also, I won't have cell
Yeah, he says it
service.
so directly. It's like, man, this isn't gonna be an issue.
You won't be able to reach me. It's so irresponsible. Like the party's happening, you're making them start jobs. You are unreachable. And everything's just supposed to be okay.
Yeah. Well, whatever. Uh so they're like, we'll behave, don't worry about us. And then as they're driving to their job, they're like, well, people there have to love us. We're the boss's daughters.
Right? Yeah, everyone at the factory is gonna love us.
Yeah. So it's their first day on the job. Woohoo! They drive to the factory and they meet with Uncle Bob. You remember Bob? He gave them the trip.
Yep, and he's not actually their uncle, but they call him Uncle Bob.
Yeah. Uh Bob's like, whoop, and he quickly clicks out of an accounting tab. Whoa. And he's like, hey, I'm not actually signing your paychecks. Like, I'm not the person you're reporting to. So
Hmm.
go talk to Fran.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And this is Sheila from Full Court Miracle, Mrs. Klein. Her
Yeah.
actress name is Sheila. Hello, Sheila. My Sheila. You know that TikTok sound?
No.
Sheila. My Sheila. It sounds just like that. Um, Yeah, I like she has like a spunky buzz cut in this movie, which is fun.
Hmm. Yeah. Uh, she's talking to them about, man, oh, your mother was great.
Oh,
She
loved your
was so
mom.
cool. Yeah. Also, you're gonna work in the production line, and they're like, "You, please no." And they're like, "Sorry, you gotta wear the uniform. You're doing the manual labor. Your
Yeah.
dad's orders."
Yep.
So they get into the assembly line where they're putting together yogurt containers. Kelsey, several times through the movie, kept pointing something out, so I'm gonna let you take control of your complaint.
Okay, so what like Courtney's always doing is like putting the lids on the containers, making sure they're on there nice and good. That makes so much sense. What Miller's doing is taking a stack of already stacked containers and one by one dropping them in the little holder where they're going into another stack of containers. Why can't you just put the stack as a stack into the machine? I feel like they're just giving her a job that she can't fuck up.
I mostly agree. I think there is somewhat a world where you have to like unstuck the containers,
But then you're putting them right
but
back.
they're like already loosened up, you know?
Uh,
Like maybe when they ship, they get tightened in. That's the only explanation I can come up with, and it's not a great one.
Yeah.
I'm saying you are right, I
I
think.
am right.
But
Yeah.
that is my best devil advocate I can give. But yeah, they're doing that, and Courtney's like, "Oh my god, you look so silly in your outfit," not realizing that she's wearing it too. I don't
Well,
know.
she probably does.
Yeah, it's like, I'm gonna take a photo of you and send it to Jackson.
And Taylor's like, "No, no, Corey, don't!" And they like fight over the phone, and the phone goes flying into a yogurt container.
It goes flop.
And it's like, "Oh, look what you did!" And then Taylor just goes over to the guy by the butt
They
and
walk
says,
like 2 feet over
"Yeah,
along the conveyor belt line and go, "Hey, dude, you have to stop the line. There's a phone in a yogurt tub." And he's like, "Well, which one?" And he's like, "I don't know. How did they lose track of it that
yeah."
quickly?"
They literally like we lost track of it. Like you didn't see which one it went into. Are you kidding me? What? How about which one looks like there's yogurt splatted everywhere?
Well, it moved very cleanly, so I don't
Apparently
know.
it did. So he's really annoyed. He shuts off the machine and is like, "Well, what are we supposed to do? Dump out all this yogurt or something?" Which, like, this guy's being so dramatic because out of probably like 10 of them, which one it is.
Yeah.
Is it that bad? Like,
To
you
waste
probably,
10,
and
no.
that's just if you get super unlucky to waste 10. How about you use your critical thinking and make an educated guess of which one it is?
It should be pretty simple. It should take 2 guesses.
But I guess what Taylor does is smarter because she just calls Courtney's phone and Courtney's like, "Why? I'm right here," which is
It's so
stupid.
dumb and out of character.
Yeah,
I feel
and
like again
yeah.
they want these characters to be smart, but they also want to have them have the ditzy moments, and it's
Yeah,
not in there. We're complaining a lot about a movie we both walked away liking.
it gets better. Um, so Taylor calls the phone and then can tell by the ring which one's in. So she's like, "Haha, see, it's fine." And they don't. I think they do show him actually taking away the
Yeah,
container.
that one is gone.
Yeah,
It's like that's coming out of your paycheck,
yeah.
which is probably fine because the actual production cost value of that is probably like 20 cents.
Well, he says, like, she finds it and she's like, "Haha, see, I did it first try." And he's like, "Well, what am I gonna do with the 4 minutes of lost time?"
This conversation has lasted 60 seconds.
And
We've been talking longer than they were talking.
yeah, literally. And like, instead of continuing it right away, he's wasting more time because he's
Yep.
pissed at
So he's
them.
like, nope, we're gonna have to go super duper fast for like 15 minutes.
No,
And
she comes up with it.
okay,
She says, "Well, if you increase your speed by like 5% for 16 minutes, then it'll fine." Like she does the math in her head.
yeah,
And he's like, "Meh, whatever." And he hits a button. Like, I really don't think it's a big deal.
yeah,
But they are so pissed at the girls because of this.
yeah. So they go a bit faster, and they're struggling a bit. Also, I note that they're not wearing gloves even when they reached in to grab.
I know.
It's
They're
crazy.
not
The
wearing
health
gloves.
safety of this company needs to be investigated, and I hope they send a health inspector and probably shut it down. Sorry
Yeah.
about all these people's livelihoods, but like,
Like they're handling yogurt tubs and lids for the yogurt and like they touch it sometimes and they're not wearing gloves and it's so gross.
yeah. And then suddenly, like, it stops and it's like, oh, well, it's lunchtime. Let's go eat. And Corey's like, oh, we gotta go home. And she's like, no, that's just
Nope.
lunch.
It's just lunch.
So they go into the lunchroom and everybody in the company is staring at them.
Yeah, in the little lounge.
Yeah. And then they're like, well, I think they don't like us. But they find Mr. Perez, who is like a family friend employee.
Yeah, like you can tell that they've known
They've
each
known each other
other.
for a long
Yeah.
time. Yeah, and he's like, wow. Well, like, sorry about the whole stoppage and everything. Also, the food isn't catered here because they thought it was
Yeah, they're
catered.
like, he's like, "Where's your lunch?" And they're like, "You mean it's not catered?" And they're like, "No." Like, all right, guess you have to go over to the
And
machines.
they get some vending machine sandwiches.
They don't even look bad, but they acting like these sandwiches look so gross. Obviously, it's like a fairly fresh sandwich, right?
Hmm.
I don't know. It didn't look bad. They're just pretending it is.
Yeah. So Mr. Perez and the girls talk, and he's like, "I'm excited for the party. I'm excited you invited me to it." And she's like, "Oh, well, you're like second parents to us, but man, I still need to find a date. If only there was some wonderful, preferably French dude sitting right next to me that I could go on a date with."
Oh my God, who's that? Oh, that's Philippe. He's a foreign exchange student. That's working here part time in the summer.
And both Courtney and Taylor just start kind of like swooning over him, calling him so cute, even though I'm kind of with Kelsey.
He's not that cute.
Yeah, sorry, dude.
I think he's cuter in Twitches too.
There is the one scene like of load of him where I'm like, you know what, I get it for him, but I will talk about that when we get
It
there.
helps that he's French.
Yeah, even though I don't buy the accent.
Yeah. Well, it's definitely fake. He does
Yeah.
not have that accent in Twitches too.
Uh, so yeah, basically, Courtney's like, man, I should try and ask him out. I gotta figure out how to do that because that seems like a great date idea.
Yeah.
Just a hot dude. So then people just start stepping up onto like the stage of the
Mhm.
lounge
Yeah.
and start playing a song because it's Monday and they do jam sessions on
Yeah, it
Mondays.
was their dad's idea. They like have a band
They
that
do a little
performs.
dairy band and everyone's jumping up and dancing and having fun. And Fran is singing a song about working at the creamery.
Working a creamery.
Yeah, it's just a full hoedown. It's fun.
Wisconsin be like. I wonder if this is Wisconsin.
I don't think so.
Uh,
Vibes wise, it doesn't feel. I bet it's California, but
huh.
they should have made it Wisconsin.
Yeah, dairy.
Yeah.
Hello.
Uh, so after the song's over, the girls are like, "Oh my god, can we be like backup singers? That was so cool. I would love to join that."
Yeah, they're like, we're really good singers.
And they're being kind about it. Like they're
Yeah.
not. It doesn't sound annoying or
But I
anything.
was just saying it like that because they're literally Allie and AJ. Like, we're really good singers. It'd be so fun if we could sing backup. And one of the band members goes, only real workers get to be in the band.
And he's like, "No, y'all can't do it. Y'all are fake ass bitches."
Go join the Pretenders.
And
The band.
everyone's like laughs.
Everybody's laughing at them.
It's
Like,
crazy. We
they're
were
being
talking
so mean to the owner's daughters.
when they said earlier they can't be mean to us. We're the boss's daughters. You think that would actually be true because
Yeah.
like they could just report back to their dad. Oh, this guy like was flat out bullying me, and he could get fired.
Yeah, but I guess the boss isn't there 'cause he's in the Amazon studying butterflies before their mom died.
No, the mom's already dead. Keep up with
Okay,
the plot.
after the mom died. I was trying to quote
I
Madam Web.
but it's, I understood. Don't worry.
Yeah, everybody laughs at them. It's like they should face repercussions for bullying these girls.
Yeah.
Come on, they're trying their best. They don't want
So
to be here either.
post lunch, the girls are walking with some blueberry goop in their arms. They're in buckets, not
They're
just
like,
like
yeah,
raw in their
they're
mouth.
very full buckets and they don't have lids
Yeah,
and they're just
but we
walking
know they
in their
don't care
heels.
about sanitation in this place.
So true.
Yeah,
And they're in their heels and they're walking and they're like, "Ugh,
we gotta just impress everyone. We
we gotta
can't
do
make any
better."
mistakes.
Yeah.
And then they slip and fall on the ground. There's a like wet floor sign knocked over on the ground. I'm blaming whoever knocked that side
That's
over.
a safety hazard.
Yeah,
Also, they're like, well, to impress them, we should just work faster. Let's walk a little faster in our heels with our blueberry goop, and then they fall.
yeah.
And they
They
slip.
just slip on their backs and
Yeah.
goop falls over them. This is a goop moment. Honestly, the grabbing of the phone out of the tub, it could have been a goop
It
moment.
wasn't on really on their body though.
It was on the
Maybe
hand.
like when it splashed when the phone went in a little bit. But yeah, they're just on the ground and nobody helps them get up at all.
Hmm.
Everyone hates them.
Everyone does hate them, which is crazy because they don't even know them.
Yeah.
Like, I get you can make your assumptions here, but it's kind of crazy. Yeah, everyone just watched them and they don't help them up or clean or anything. They all
Yeah.
just go back to their jobs, which is wild.
But the next scene is so cute. It's like an inside shot from the laundry machine, and the two girls both smile and like they're looking inside. They're so proud that they did their own
They figured out how
laundry.
to do
It's
laundry.
so cute.
Oh,
They see that their like shirts are dry and they're so excited. They pull them out. They're like, "Oh my gosh, wait till you are made. Here's how we did our own laundry."
kind of cute.
It's so cute.
And we get to see a bunch of workers picking up their paychecks because they do it by hand.
Yeah, yeah.
Melvin does them all by hand.
I'm like, "Hey, Melvin, glad to see you still work here."
Yeah,
Like, oh, oh,
yeah. So at the paycheck line, like one worker's like, "Oh, I can't put this towards the new patio. I need to put this money towards my daughter's braces."
yeah,
And out, Taylor and Courtney are just like, can we get our check?" And he's like, "You gotta work more than a day for a check."
yeah. You gotta work a whole week to get your check.
Yeah, yeah. That's where they drop the banger of a line. It's just like, "We're glad you're still here, Melvin."
Yeah, like it's implied that at one point he was gonna get fired or something.
Melvin's like, "Oh,
Yeah, but it's
oh."
like established that like he's there and he does everything by hand, even though it would be like technically more efficient if it was like computerized or something.
Yeah,
But he like is very careful. He does the books and everything by hand. Yeah,
yeah. Uh, so that's that. Then they're kind of leaving the work, and Jackson is doing a shipment there. So Jackson's at the creamery, and he's like, "Wow, you girls have been working. That's kind of crazy. Didn't think you could do it."
yeah.
And Taylor's like, "Hey, I have the check for your car payments, like getting it out of the lake and everything. Do you want me to bring that over to you?"
He's like, "Oh, you could just like mail it or something." And she's like, "No, I want to see how Martha's doing." He's
Girl,
like,
you don't
"How?"
care. But she does.
And
Is the
it's the
thing.
reason the truck is in the lake.
Yeah. So Jackson's just kind of like, "Oh, you want to care about Martha?
But really, they both know it's like, I want to
I just
see
want to go suck your
you.
lips."
Ew. Why would you say it like,
It's visceral.
I want to suck your lip? That's not going to pick up.
That one picked up on your mic.
um, okay. Yeah. So they're like kind of going to be on a.
Oh my god, yeah. They're both acting like this is a date, which is wild because it's just like,
He's coming over
yeah,
to his house.
yeah. So they go back to Courtney and Taylor's house and they talk with Heather, who's just Courtney's friend, who's
Yeah.
notably not a part of the party.
No, because she's poor.
Yeah, she is.
Well, we don't really know that yet, but that's why.
Yeah. And Heather comes up with a plan of like, hey, you can just invite the kid who is in the family that Felipe's staying
Philippe,
with.
not
Felipe
Felipe.
Felipe is staying with because he's a foreign exchange student. And we're like,
Yeah.
wow, that's pretty smart. I haven't invited him to the party yet. He's kind of a dweeb,
Yeah.
but
But if it's a way to get to
yeah,
Philippe.
so totally cool.
Yeah.
Uh, Jackson and Taylor are both then shown getting ready for their date. They get
Yeah.
doing makeup and stuff. Jackson is shirtless
Yeah.
and he's
Okay. It
putting
was
on
wild.
like Axe body spray.
It just like cuts to shirtless
He's
Jackson
ripped.
with a spray deodorant.
It's just suddenly an Axe ad
It's,
from that era.
I couldn't believe that it felt like dirty, like watching it. I don't know. It
It's
was
kind it's
weird.
kind of weird.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're both getting all dressed up for this. I put down they really gave up on like not liking each other really quick.
Instantly.
There's
Yeah.
been two interactions that they've had since they both essentially said they dislike each other. One was her sinking his car. The other was meeting at work.
Yeah.
And that's it. What?
Yeah.
Sure.
Like now they just like each other.
Yeah.
Okay.
But Taylor's like, "Oh, I'm tired. I'm gonna go on my bed real quick."
Me too. She fell asleep. She took a nap, but it was the whole
She
night.
took too long. She took too
And you
long.
see Jack Jackson wait forever and she never shows up and he throws the flowers. Okay, this is I told Benji already. Throws flowers in empty garbage can that takes up whole garbage can no bag trash. Okay, you added some, you know. But because I'm like, he is empty garbage can, it takes up whole garbage can. Can no bag trash.
I mean, I feel like there's nothing more to say other than throws flowers in empty garbage can that takes up whole garbage can no bag trash. Feel like we can probably end the podcast here.
I think this is our best work.
All right, you want to know our best work? It's going to be our reaction to the next character we get to meet. The minorest of characters in this movie. He has like probably 5 lines throughout
Yeah,
the whole movie.
and they're all amazing.
And we both fell in love with his performance. It's crazy.
It's not the
It's
beginning. It's like all of a sudden it flipped and like midway through the scene, and we're like, wait, what is this?
so this is Richie. This
Richie.
is the foreign exchange student, original student, like the student in Courtney's grade that is relevant. And yeah, they're like he's just doing some putts. I don't know if it's at a mini golf course or just like a practice putting green or something.
Aren't they at his house?
I think so. I think they just have like a practice putting green in the
They're
back.
rich.
Yeah, it's a rich place.
Yeah.
And yeah, I didn't put down everything that he has the lines here. I don't know how to describe how he performs this.
Well, okay,
It's
so
just
they're
the
like,
most disinterested thing.
yeah, at first he's so disinterested. They're like, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry I haven't invited my party yet. Like, it must have gotten lost in the mail or something. So I thought I would just come over in person. And he's just like, okay. I can't even remember how they bring it up. They're like, oh, if you have anyone else you want to bring, like maybe a foreign exchange student, and all of a sudden Richie perks up and goes, I have a foreign exchange student upstairs, and it's like
Let me go ask.
I don't know if he's making fun of them or if he's actually genuine. Like, oh my god, you won't believe this. I think it's more so that the way he's delivering it is like, you won't believe this. I have a foreign exchange student upstairs
I'll
right
go
now.
ask him right now.
Right now.
It's just wild that it worked in that way.
Okay, Richie. Like, that's a great idea, Richie.
Yeah.
So he brings Philippe down, and they're like,
He's like,
Philippe.
this is my first, how you say, American girlfriend or whatever.
How do you say party?
Yeah.
And they're like, oh my god, Philippe, you should come to our party.
And yeah, he's gonna go to the party. Everyone's excited. Hooray! Guess what? It's 5:30 again. You don't just work for one day.
Yep, and Taylor's like, oh my god, I stood Jackson up. I slept for like
She went to
12
bed
hours?
at like 6, so roughly 12 hours.
Yeah, which isn't crazy to do, because she probably was really tired from waking up early and working.
Yeah.
But yeah, Courtney comes in and is like, hey, what? And she's like, oh, I stood up Jackson. And Courtney's like,
You wanna know the worst part? We still gotta work.
so funny. And we still gotta go back to work.
When they get to the job, they notice there's definitively a commotion going on.
Yes.
Every single check bounce that Melvin gave out the previous day,
Uh-huh.
which that's not good. So Melvin's trying to explain everything. He's like, no, I write these by hand. Nothing could be going wrong. No one knows what's going on.
They're like, it's their father. He doesn't have the money.
Yeah. Well, Bob comes in and he's like, hey, I think I figured out what's going on. The dad isn't just going on a vacation. He emptied the company account.
Yeah, we are out of money. And they're like, he took it and he ran.
Yeah, so everyone's like, wow, that's evil. But then a lot of the workers also defend him, being like, that's out of character. That doesn't
Especially
seem
like
him.
Fran.
Yeah.
Yeah. She's like, he would never do that to us.
And Bob goes, well, I don't know exactly what happens, but since the dad's out of range, I'm gonna go and get on a plane and fly to the dad. Don't worry about me.
Like the way he's coming up, like, oh well, I should probably go get on a plane. So it's like nobody is suspicious that he's leaving.
Again, they're setting this up like it's gonna be a reveal that it's him.
Yeah, it's like they're trying to hide it, because they are trying to hide it a little bit right now. But it's like, and we're clocking it like, oh, this is gonna be the big twist. It's Bob the whole time.
Well, wait till you see how soon we're gonna talk about it being Bob. Just wait. Um, so they're trying to figure that out. He leaves to go on his plane, and then they're like, "Well, for now, we just gotta keep working despite the pay. We'll get this figured
We're
out."
like, what? You want us to work
Yeah,
and we
the
haven't
girls are
gotten
like, "Yeah,
paid?
we gotta work. Y'all don't distrust our dad. Our dad wouldn't do
Yeah.
this.
Taylor's
Uh,
like, let's go work. And
let's go." And he hits a
she
button.
just hits a button. She doesn't know what this button does. She says, let's get back to work. And a milk hose just sprays at her and everybody laughs at her. And it's like, girl, why would you go and just hit a button?
Goop.
And is
And
milk
they
goop.
show a shot of the days without an accident counter going from 1 to 0.
Oh yeah, because the previous day it went from like
Like 200
200
something.
to 0, and now it was at 1. It's back at 0.
Yeah.
It was a good gag.
So the girls clean themselves off, and then they go into Bob's
Yeah, because
office.
they're like, let's no way Dad did this. Well, I want to go catch Uncle Bob before he leaves so that I can tell him to tell Dad that I love him or
Yeah,
something like that.
something cute.
Yeah, so they're like, all right, let's go see if Bob's in his office. And they walk in, because the way they say it too is like, oh, let's try and catch him before he goes. And then they
Yeah,
walk in his office and it's like, what the heck? He's gone already? Like they're surprised that
that's
he's gone.
wild. And yeah, in Bob's office, they find a photo of their dad and Bob together, broken and in the trash.
Trash. Like, why? Why did he do that?
Which is crazy because this
So
guy
funny.
just decided I'm going to punch this like
No, he
on
just threw it. He
yeah,
threw it in the trash. He's
which
like,
is so
we're
meaningless.
over.
It has no benefit to his system. It's just an ego trip.
He had his own like evil villain scene. We just didn't get to
Yeah,
see
they
it.
just didn't cut into it. Like
He
that's a
like
deleted scene.
he looked at that picture and like meh, like smirked and
By
then
the
threw
way,
it.
we've seen all of Bob we will see in this entire
He
movie.
is
He
gone
never
forever.
comes back, which
Yeah.
is wild and is genuinely kind of unhinged because he also faces no consequences.
And literally immediately Taylor looks at this and goes, hey, what if it was Bob that actually stole the money? Like, it's immediately found out. And we're like, oh, I guess they're not going to try and hold out for this mystery. Like, it's immediately solved. Because, I mean, it makes sense, though, because she's like, we know Dad didn't take it, obviously.
Mhm.
Bob, like, has access to the money. He just broke this picture of them, and now he's gone. It was
That's sus
probably
as
him.
hell.
It's sus as hell.
So they say, "Well, let's go visit Fran." They go to her house and go, "Hey, Fran, it's us, the boss's daughters. We think it's probably Bob, and we want to tell you about our theory." And they're like, "Yeah, Bob had both the ability to do it. He gave the dad a vacation, and he like got on a plane out of here." And Fran's like, "You know what? That makes a lot of sense." And they're like, "He also makes us call us uncle, despite not being related, which is just kind of weird."
That is
And
weird.
Fran and her husband are like, "Yeah, you know what? It probably is Bob." No one in this entire movie calls the police or any sort of government agency about this very extreme corporate espionage, or espionage isn't the right word.
I don't know.
Corporate crime.
Yeah, like grand larceny.
Yeah. This is like a
Absolutely
high level
insane.
white collar crime. It's a small business getting completely
Completely wiped
defrauded.
out. Like, they never call the cop.
Yeah.
And they can't call the dad. So they're just like, oh man, what do we do?
Yeah.
It's absolutely insane.
Yeah.
And they never ever in the movie say that they're going to catch him. Or try and get the money back. They never say that.
Yep.
It's
It's
insane.
insane. But it's like, yeah, that probably makes sense. Also, girls, you're staying for dinner. Come and make pizzas with us. So they
Pizza.
make some pizza doughs, and they're like, we give these to neighbors because we're just the most wholesome people ever.
We're the most wholesome couple you've ever met in your life. And
And
they're
Courtney
throwing
and
pizza.
Taylor throw up the pizza dough, and
Yeah.
it lands on their faces.
Haha. Is that more goop?
Kinda. This is a
Kinda.
very goop adjacent movie.
It is. It
It is very
is.
much a goop vibe movie. That's the only
Yeah.
thing I knew about this movie before we watched it initially.
That there's
Goop.
milk goop.
Yeah.
That
I think
makes
it was
sense.
probably in an ad.
Yeah, I
Either that
think
or I
like
seen the scene.
the blueberry scene I think would play in the commercials and them just working with in the factory. Yeah.
Man, is that why there's so many goop scenes? And did I just have an epiphany? Is it
What?
for trailer shots?
They'd be like, look at this wacky movie.
That might
Blue.
be it. They might put a goop shot in there.
I feel like Princess Protection Program definitely put like the ice cream scene in
Yeah.
their little
And they're
commercials.
like, we need this because these market well on ads for TV.
That's crazy.
I think that's it.
Well, it's also
The
just
whole point of
like
this podcast was to figure this out.
such baseline humor that like kids will probably like and easy to do.
Yeah. Okay. So we cut to the party planning committee. This is Courtney and her friends, but I'm just gonna also call them the bitch squad. Hopefully, I don't say the word bitch too much. Kelsey gave me permission, and then maybe use it too much. But let me tell you, these girls, they kind of serve, they kind of slay, and they definitely be bitching.
Hell yeah.
What am I fucking saying? um, yeah. So they're planning the cotillion, and they're
Yes.
all pissed about the budget and how much money.
Yeah, they're like, well, we want the ice sculpture and the lobster. So we have to ask our dads for more money. And Courtney's like, what if we just did chicken? And she's like, how fucking dare
Oh
you?
my god, get out of
Get
here!
the fuck out of here. And Courtney's like, we can't ask for more money. They were strict about the budget.
Yeah. And Courtney's like, I'll talk to Taylor. She's like really smart at math. She'll
Yeah.
figure out the budget for
Yeah.
us.
And she's done this before.
So Taylor goes and looks at the budget and goes like, "Yeah, this is gonna be like expensive too much."
Yeah.
Man, the world. Courtney's like, "Man, when did the world get so expensive?" Taylor's like, "I'm just starting to realize it always has been."
Yeah.
This
That's
is
what
again,
growing up is
Courtney's already
like.
gone through her entire character development arc. We didn't touch on it, but it happened in the background.
Yep.
From this point on, she is fully
A
advanced.
good person.
Yeah. So Taylor and Courtney talk about like, man, the employees are all struggling. A lot of them live paycheck to paycheck. It's bad. Taylor's like, Courtney, you want to do something really cool and like take your budget for the party?
Take your $25,000 and
And
give it to all the employees.
Courtney's like, no, that's
Yeah,
so mean. You
no.
only want me to do that because you want to have a better party than me,
Courtney, how could you even say that?
man. Yeah,
So this plot is so fascinating because like I don't know if there is a right
it's a good
side.
morality question. It's the needs of the few versus needs of the many.
And I like Courtney has a good argument of like we're kids. Like this responsibility
Doesn't fall on
it
them.
shouldn't fall on us. And she's right, it shouldn't because their dad should be here and he should be taking care of it. But also, it's their family business and he's not here right now. And these people need money for their hard work and their company needs to stay afloat.
I think where a lot of this movie shines is the fact that that's genuinely an interesting morality question,
Yeah.
and they explore it.
Yeah. And so Taylor says, like, okay, yeah, we won't use your money.
Yeah. We get a brief scene here of Taylor calling Jackson on the phone, Jackson refusing to answer it. Jackson's dad answers it and is like, Jackson told me to say that he's not here.
Uh-huh.
And Jackson just keeps pantomiming to his dad about how much he hates Taylor.
Meh.
They're back to hating each other.
She stood me up.
Yeah. And Taylor's just sad. Uh yeah. Next day at work, there's a full company wide meeting, which is basically them selling the workers up. Please don't stop working. If you stop working, we'll miss our deadlines. If we miss our deadlines, we lose our contracts. And if we lose our contracts, we're for sure out of business. But you
Mhm.
might be able to get your money eventually, you know?
And they're like, I don't know, like we work on the faith that we'll get paid eventually. Like that doesn't help me pay my bills right now.
Yeah, which is valid. They can't pay rent on IOUs.
Yeah. So Taylor's like, hey Courtney, can you go get my phone from the car? And Courtney's like, why don't you go get it? He's like, because I'm actually paying attention to what's going on. Because Courtney's just sitting on her phone.
Yeah, absolutely classic. It's a
Yeah.
good move there.
So Courtney's like, fine, and she leaves. And Taylor's like, all right, now I'm gonna go up on stage.
Yeah. And he's like, okay, hi guys, I'm like the boss's daughter, and you all hate me.
I know
But
you hate me,
if
but
I
like,
if I have the money, would you work today if I can get the money? I don't have the money right now, but if I had it to pay for like today, would you all promise to work?
don't like, you can't do that, you stupid bitch.
Like you're just a dumb little idiot who doesn't know how the world works. You
Yeah,
don't get how money
yeah.
works.
You've
And
never worked a
she's
day in
like
your life.
basically crying up there,
I
saying that
know.
she has a way to find the money, and none of them even want to hear her out,
I
despite the fact that
know.
they all decide to work.
I think they like end up being convinced. I think Fran helps. They're like, no, come on, like hear
Yeah,
out. Like, yeah, come on. The rich girl is saying that she's gonna
yeah.
try and find the money.
Taylor just takes all the criticism. She's like, I'm trying to change. I understand everything now. Give me to the end of the day. I'm gonna figure something out. Well, Courtney's going out to get the phone. Her and Philippe flirt a little bit. It's like,
Yeah.
by the way, you're gonna have to dance with me one on one.
She doesn't say you have to. She says there's this thing called the spotlight dance. Is that something you'd be okay with? And he's like, yeah. He's like, yes, I would love to dance with you at the spotlight dance.
The spotlight dance.
You
So
wrote, I don't care about this
yeah,
plot.
I feel like this is the part I'm the least interested
He
in.
also felt the need to write it down. You're like,
This
I
is
don't
how I
care.
take notes. If I want to say throws flowers in an empty garbage can that takes up a whole garbage can no bag trash, I will. So all the workers of the meeting are back to work, and Taylor and Melvin went to the bank. And Melvin's like, "Are you sure you want to do this?" Taylor's like, "I got to."
Yep. And it's a check for $20,000. Notably, it's not the full 25,000, it's just 20,000. And apparently this is supposed to cover the week's wages for every single employee. I guess
Notably, there's like 50
there's
employees.
a lot, but it is only one
Yeah,
instead of like 2 weeks. I still feel like this is light,
I
but
don't know enough about finances in this specific job industry to
also
make
it's
a guess.
2006.
Yeah, there's a lot of things to think about there.
Yeah.
It's close enough that I'm not gonna worry
It
about
is
it.
a big amount of money. So it's
Yeah,
not like it was a couple thousand. They're like, oh, it's fine. Like it's $20,000. That's a lot. So
yeah.
I guess it's fine.
And they're like, "Thank you, Taylor and Courtney. You've guaranteed everyone's checks." And Courtney like is pissed, which
Yeah.
is
Like, what
reasonable.
the fuck did she just say?
Yeah, they kind of have an emotional moment fighting over the money.
And
Courtney
Taylor's
again.
like, let's talk about this at home.
Courtney is just again accusing Taylor of just wanting to have a better party, which feels like a weird
It's,
no. But
yeah,
like
she's
again, I guess
mad.
she doesn't realize how quick of a character developer Taylor is.
Yeah. So this is where it's like, I feel like they're both in the wrong. Courtney in the wrong for wanting to keep her money, which it like it's understandable because she's probably like 14 or 15 years old
Yeah.
and this is her big party.
This
Like
is
of course she wants to
like the
say it.
biggest thing she's most excited for
Yeah.
in her life to this point.
But the right thing to do is to give the money for the doctor. And Taylor took the money even though she said to Courtney that she wouldn't.
Yeah.
And she's doing the right thing by like saving their family's business and
But
helping all
it's
these families. But like she took her sister's money for her party, and that's a shitty thing to do. And that's just like it's so interesting. And eventually, like Courtney just forgives her, and so that we like, okay, that's the right answer. But I feel like Taylor should have had a little bit more of a consequence with that, and Courtney is very justified in being very mad at her, and
mm,
that's why I like it because it's like it's not black and white.
this for as much as I've been harping on this film a little bit for like weird character development, character growth stuff like this. Again, I think why this movie really actually does work for me is it is an interesting question that is not asked in a ton of media and is like genuinely you can see the arguments in multiple ways. It's not a clear picture. It's
Yeah,
good.
it's a very unique conflict where like nothing like this happened in DCOMs or really in many other movies,
Yeah.
period.
Yeah, it's a
It's
good unique
good.
concept.
It's good.
So good on the screenwriter of Cowbells.
Hell yeah.
All right. Next, we see Taylor driving to Jackson because she wants to apologize to him in person and deliver the check.
Yeah.
Even though he's like, just put it in the mail.
Yeah.
So they go outside and talks, and Taylor's like, okay, all this shitty stuff's been happening where she just completely trauma dumps on him. And it's like, I'm so sad about all these people at my job, and the only guy I could think to dump this on was a guy who thinks I'm a spoiled brat. And he goes, well, a condescending spoiled brat.
Hmm.
Yeah. And then Jackson's dad goes, hey, Martha's giving birth right now, but there's
Oh,
problems.
no.
So they run to Martha,
Martha.
and Taylor's like, hey, there's like a bull in here, and Martha's clearly uncomfortable with a guy watching her give birth.
Yeah.
So
They're like, why isn't she pushing?
Jackson and his dad are like, that's
That's
stupid.
stupid. But
But she
Taylor's like,
pushes the bull away, and then
shoo,
the
cow.
cow gives birth normally.
Yeah, they're like, oh my god, she's pushing again. Like, it was that there was a bull looking at her.
I want to say this movie did not go the extra mile that Ring of Endless Light did. It is very clearly a fake cow birth.
Yeah.
It's not even close to
Why
looking
didn't they
real.
film a real cow birth and show every single second of it?
Only the goated DCOMs like Ring of Endless Light would do that. Live dolphin birth is still one of the most insane things. Like, that top 5 most insane DCOM moments.
Yeah. No, for real.
For real. Because, like, the further you get away from it, the more you're like, no, wait, that's wild.
Like, they showed a whole dolphin giving birth to a whole dolphin.
Yeah. So Martha gave birth, and they're happy about that. And Jackson and Taylor are walking back
In a field.
fully holding hands.
Yes.
They were holding hands on the run to
I
Martha as well,
know.
which they were just fighting. This was just after Jackson said, like, you can never come back to me.
But she explained that she fell asleep, and he's like, oh.
Yeah.
Okay, you fell asleep.
And then they just full on kiss.
Oh my god, they kiss in the field. It's like a long kiss.
Yeah.
I couldn't believe my
I wrote, I
eyes.
think, with tongue. Kelsey disagrees,
I
but I think the point
disagree.
is it's a very passionate kiss.
It's a passionate kiss. They're like, we're boyfriend girlfriend now.
Which is, again, crazy how quickly they go from hating each other to
No.
loving each other.
You feel like this would last, like, stretch it out a little bit more in the movie, but no, they're just
The
smooching.
pacing in this movie is weird. By
It
the
is a
way,
little
speaking
weird.
of the pacing, we're like almost done. In our notes, there's 3 pages left.
Damn.
Yeah,
Yeah, you know what? It does kind of go fast.
yeah. It's not. I'm not gonna say it's a badly paced movie, but it's definitely a weirdly paced movie.
Hmm.
So another day of work. They're waking up in the morning, and Courtney wrote a note saying to Taylor, "Hey, I got a ride to work. Forget that I exist."
Forget that I exist.
Which, how early in the morning did she have to do that to like make
know.
that point?
So she was gone before 5:30,
So what's she doing at work right now? Just twiddling her thumbs.
putting lids on containers,
So
separating
true.
containers one by one and dropping them on other
Yeah.
containers.
But at the assembly line, they still have to work right next to each other. And
Yeah.
they start fighting about the party. Because guess
Yeah.
what? Courtney's still mad about it. She was like,
Yeah.
June 10th was going to be my day. Wait, I have to go reset the expiration date, and types June 10th.
Yeah, she's like, don't even, that date doesn't exist to you anymore, but it's so on her mind that she
Yeah.
types it in the
They were
computer.
supposed to update from June 30th to presumably July 1st.
Yeah, which once again, like a beep goes off, like beep beep, change expiration date.
Why can't that go automatically?
I know. Well, they actually say at one point in the movie that a lot of the stuff like could have been changed automatically, but the dad specifically leaves it manual to give people jobs.
This
And
is
Bob was
why.
pissed about it.
Well, it's a bad business move.
He's
I get it.
helping the
I get
community.
it. But like, you got
And
to make
he's
a lot
still
more money to
rich.
cover for that. He is still rich.
Yeah,
Maybe this yogurt just tastes really good.
probably does.
If
But
you've had Callum's yogurt before, let us know.
but that's why like Bob was so pissed is because like he wanted more money. And that's why he took all the money he had. But so it's beeping like change the expiration date. The guy that was mad at them earlier is like, "What are you doing? You're supposed to change the date." And Courtney's like, "Fucking chill. I got it." Like he's being too much.
He is.
But then
He's
she
just
types
rude.
in the wrong date and
Yeah.
nobody notices. It's really bad.
It is really bad because basically they went 21 days early. This is good, like in 2 days
Yeah, it's like in 2 days.
or
It
whatever. It's
says, yeah,
close
it's close. Where it's basically the day
that
that
the
there's
shipments would be arriving.
yeah, pretty much, and it's
So
like,
that's
oh my
setting
god,
up a problem. It
and
doesn't come up for a while, but it does come up because it has to.
it's. I remember saying like, "Isn't this gonna be an issue?" She typed in the wrong date. Isn't that gonna come back? And you're like, "Yeah, it'll come back. It just takes a
It takes
while."
longer than you think it will.
Yeah,
Which again, we said this movie's almost done, but still.
yeah,
Uh Fran comes in and is like, "Hey, we got another issue. Um, a bunch of our goods like went bad because Bob wasn't here to do oversight on all of like the silos, so a
yeah.
full
So
silo's just done.
a ton of their
A
product
ton of
is
their milk is
bad.
just bad now. And
That's not good.
yep, at lunch they're discussing options to potentially survive that whole milk situation. Meanwhile, Courtney is at a different table, just calling to the whole Tilling group, where I just wrote "evil girls being comically evil."
Yeah, she's like, I still
Leader
have
of the bitch
five.
squad.
I still have $5,000. Can I still do it? And she's like, no, bench, you cannot, and never talk to me again. You're such a loser.
Hey, do my nails a little bit better.
Yeah,
Slave who's tending to my pedicure.
yeah.
Yeah. And it's wild. And the girl's just like, yeah, you're out. And Courtney's so mad. She'd storm say, like, I got kicked out of my own party.
Well, just as you wanted, you stupid cunt.
Yeah. And they fight about like the selfishness of everything
Yeah,
in there. And Courtney's like, you know what? I quit this job.
yeah. As you should, girl. And she's like, Dad wanted me to do this. He's not even here. This is bullshit. I quit.
Yeah, I get her reaction. Her whole worldview has changed a lot.
A
Like
lot,
the
yeah.
whole society there. Um, so that happens. We get to see Taylor talking to Jackson. One of the things they discussed at lunch to survive the milk is the fact that, Jackson's dad is the milk supplier, and Taylor's like, what if we could get him to do it on credit? And
Yeah,
they're
Jackson
talking
says
like, I don't know if
no.
that's an idea, but you can at least talk about it.
Yeah, Jackson's like, we are already in so much debt. Like, it's so
I
hard.
can't do it because my dad would say yes,
Yeah,
which
he
is
would
a
say
good
yes.
line.
He would say yes, which would hurt us so bad because we're already in debt. Like, being a milk farmer, a dairy farmer, is not easy work.
Yeah, just
And
ask all the Culvers.
Who Culver's is so good. Let's
Ah!
go to
Let's go to
Culver's.
Culver's right now.
Let's go get some custard.
Oh, and that would slap so hard.
I know, and some
Don't tempt
cheese
me.
curds.
Don't
Oh,
tempt me.
oh,
We're probably not going to finish this in time,
I
and we probably
know.
shouldn't
We
anyways.
shouldn't, but oh, the cheese curd sounds so good right now. Okay, let's keep
All
going.
right. Are you gonna leave that in? I kind of hope
I
so.
will.
Please sponsor us, Culvers.
Please.
I want Culvers. All right. I titled this section "Courtney realizes she is a princess."
What? Dang, alright. I'm
Yeah.
excited.
Courtney goes over to Heather's place where she's trying on a new dress. It's a different one than the one they found shopping at the beginning of the movie. Oh my god.
Whoa.
And she's like, you're not supposed to see this. It's because I'm poor, but it's because you make me feel like everything's a competition with you, Courtney. How do you never, like, think about anything but
Okay,
yourself? But the way she's saying these
that's
words,
actually so wild because the build up to this was like not there. So she shows up and Heather's all embarrassed and Courtney's like, "Hey, what's up?" Like, and Heather's like, "You're not supposed to see me in this dress." And Courtney's like, "Why? You look beautiful. Like, it looks so great." And Heather's like, "You're such a stuck up bitch. Like, you think people are only good if they're rich, and you wouldn't
Courtney's like,
respect me if I was
no.
poor." And Courtney's like, "Oh my god, I'm a bitch."
It's weirdly set up as well because the whole time Heather's not actually mad at Courtney.
She's like saying these mean
She's
things in a
saying mean
nice way,
things, but in a way where it's like,
in
I
a nice
know you're a
tone.
good person, but also like I feel the pressure of all this competition. But don't worry, you don't need to go through that much character development.
They should have had Courtney come in and be like, "What the hell? That's not the right dress. Are you poor or something?" Like, they should have made Courtney
But they
meaner.
but they said we can't give her like a redemption for that. The whole art's weird, but it's kind of funny. She said like underneath, you're a really good person, Courtney. Don't worry, but Yes, you are a spoiled princess.
It's so crazy because like the worst thing Courtney has done is wanted to keep her money for her party. She's never
Which is
been mean
so
to anyone.
reasonable.
Yeah,
Yeah.
she's never been mean to anyone.
Which
She's
I
never been
get.
mean to Heather.
What Heather's saying is a concept that I think is interesting and could be worth discussing, but they don't set it up at all, which makes it a
No,
problem.
it's
Oh,
crazy.
yeah. Being like, just the fact that you are expecting all of these rich things around you makes me feel inferior for not having it. It's an
Sure.
interesting concept. But again, Heather is talked in 3 scenes.
Yeah, we have not seen this behavior from Courtney, really, other than them saying, like, well, I didn't realize that the real world was hard.
Yeah.
Like, it's wild.
So after this, Courtney goes home and she talks with the maid. She's like, I miss my mom. And the maid's just like, well, your mom was really good at things like compassion and perspective. She knew that her life was just a happy accident. And that's like what made her great. She never took things too big. The mom's
Yeah.
great. Let me make you some of your mom's yogurt. She does it the
Aw,
best.
yogurt.
That's really the only time they really at length talk about the mom.
Yeah.
It this movie this movie's kind of just dead parent to have one, but also because having a mom in the picture right now would make everything weird when it makes more sense for it to be a single parent situation
Yeah.
plot wise. I feel like that's why they did it,
Yeah.
not because they wanted to tell anything about grief
Yeah,
or
no.
single
The
parent.
swap does it better.
Yeah. All right. At the factory, Taylor's like, "Well, I have an idea. Okay, I'm gonna go find Ralph, the guy who fixed up my fancy new sports car, and I'm gonna sell it to him. Even though he's presumably not getting paychecks and getting fired too right now,
Right.
but
Well, he got his last paycheck because Taylor was able to cover
yeah.
it. But he's like, hey, I can't afford your car. And she's like, well, how much do you have? And he's like, I give you 9K for it. And she's like, all right, deal.
And she gives it to Jackson as a down payment for more milk.
And Ralph is stoked, as he should be,
But
to
it
get
also
that
feels
car.
like you're kind of robbing.
He got a really nice car.
Yeah.
He could sell it for more
Yeah.
money than that.
Yeah.
She was just desperate to get money instantly. I feel like she should have gone somewhere else, though.
Drive to a car auction place. Yeah.
Yeah.
Go to Carvana.
Go to Carvana. Go to, look up Carfax.
Show me the car
Show me the
facts.
Carfax.
Yeah. All right. So then they go back to the house, and Courtney basically has had her come to Jesus moment.
Courtney's
She
like, you were right. Like, those girls are so stupid and they never cared about me. Of course you should have taken my money.
He's taken my rightful money and done there. I'm gonna give up the rest of my party budget, all 5K of it.
Yeah, because they
Also,
need more money for the milk. It was just a
yeah.
down payment for the milk. They need more money.
Also, I'm gonna return my $1,000 dress.
Yeah, because
It's painful, but like it, I haven't worn it, so
they
it
were
can be done.
specifically 1,000 short after the
Yeah.
5,000. So it's like, oh, I have an idea, and she returns the dress.
Yeah.
But so yeah,
So that all happens. Philippe calls her, and he's doing weights
he's lifting a dumbbell while on the phone.
in
It's
a muscle
so
shirt.
funny.
This is the part where I'm like, I get it.
I get that Philippe is
Because
hot.
not only is he doing that, which is both funny and like inherently just like a hot thing, but Corey's like, I dropped out of the dance, and Philippe's like, I don't care, let's just go out and have fun.
Yeah, he's like, that's okay. I still want to be with
That's the
you.
what they'll be with
As
you.
long as I can still dance with you another
So they
time.
go to the country club. We get another little Richie moment.
Yeah, so Courtney's like, I can't go to the country club because I'm poor now or whatever. And Philippe's like, we will have you as a guest with the family I'm with. And by the way, I'm like doing a motion of lifting away
Yeah.
while I'm talking.
You just are going method acting.
Yeah, I'm method acting. You gotta pretend like you're lifting a dumbbell. Just imagine his thought process is like, I'm gonna call this hot girl who's into me. I'm gonna lift a weight while I do it.
Yeah. So Philippe and Courtney are just out dancing at the country club, having a good time.
Cute. Oh, and Ralphie was there too.
Yeah.
I don't remember what he said, but it was funny.
Again, right? He's just a very, very minor character that
Wanna
really
dance.
lights up. Yeah, I think that's what it is. He's like dancing. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then the bitch squad shows up.
They like show up in
They're
squad
doing
formation.
They're doing power poses, strutting the catwalk.
One of them is so much shorter than the others, and it's so cute.
Yeah.
Like, I love her so much. She's so short. It's
Yeah.
amazing.
And they really just come to say, hey, we're getting every single thing that we wanted.
Despite your money
All it took
deficit.
was some crocodile tears. We just begged our daddies.
Yeah, and Courtney's like, well, you're fucking bitch.
So get out of my way. Twirl me now, Philippe.
Throw me now, Philippe. Throw me away. She's like, I'm gonna go dance with my hot French boyfriend.
Yeah.
So
She's
fuck
still definitely
you.
hurt by it, but it's like, yeah, fuck you. We're
Yeah.
not friends anymore.
So her and Philippe just go off on a walk.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Meanwhile, Jackson shows up at Taylor's door. It's
Hey,
like,
you skipped a part.
this is actually the order that it is.
Oh. Okay, never mind. Keep going.
Yeah, which is weird. Uh, yeah. Jackson shows up at Taylor's door, cheer her up, and it's like, hey,
Mhm.
I know everything that's going on. I thought you could use some friends and stuff. So they go inside and they're basically having another date. Then we get back to Philippe and Courtney. They're slow dancing.
Yeah. They're
They,
slow dancing away from the dance floor now on their own.
yeah. He's like, hey, why do you want to be in a cotillion anyways? And Courtney's like, I just wanted to be my sister, but I
Yeah.
should have been me.
It's kind of funny the way he's like, if they're such stuck up bitches, why would you even want to do that? He's like, I don't know, because my sister had an amazing cotillion, but I need to be myself.
Yeah.
And they're about to kiss, but the sprinklers come on, so they can't kiss
High School Musical 2.
for real. But you know who does kiss?
Jackson and Taylor.
They're on the couch watching a movie and they kiss.
Yeah. Well, first they're talking. It's like, man, I really love my dad. I wish he was home right now.
He's
And
like,
Jackson's like, I will not too soon. Otherwise, I couldn't do this. Smooch.
smooch.
And
And then
then
the
the
maid.
maid interrupts and goes, I got popcorn.
Stop smooching on the couch.
Yeah. All right. At the factory, nothing's going wrong for once. This is wild. Everyone's happy. And they're like,
Yeah.
hey, let's go do, we're having a company party because nothing's going wrong.
And
And
nothing can go wrong.
yeah,
Oh
so
no, it all went
there no one has any
wrong.
other plans now because she's not going to her cotillion, even though it's that day.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the dairy band's playing at the party. We just like fade into the
Yeah.
party.
It's cute. It's like outside. It kind of looks like a little park or something.
Yeah.
And it's
Everyone
really fun.
everyone's just happy they're still in business and they're
Yeah.
super celebratory about everything going on. They're very happy. And they're like, the girls, you really made up for a lot of the stuff. Thank you for all your sacrifices. I think it's time for you to have your spotlight dance, Courtney.
Yeah.
So they get ready, her and Philippe. But Ralph came in and says, there's an emergency. And we get a commercial break. And
Fades to black.
it fades to black and then cuts back. And it's something that some movies is very clear. Again, I'm not going to judge this. They were designed to be TV movies.
Yeah, of course.
But it's very funny how some films you cannot tell at all where the commercial breaks are.
Yeah.
And some films it's super obvious.
Because they just straight up fade to black and then fade back in.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's pretty funny every time it happens. We're like, oh, commercial.
Yeah.
But we
It's
don't
like-
get a commercial because we're on Disney Plus.
Ralph's like, the expiration dates were wrong.
Oh my
And they try to
god.
figure out options that can make them survive. And Courtney's like, oh my god, this is my fault.
I
messed
put
up
it
the
on.
expiration date.
I'm glad she realized
Yeah.
it.
And they're like, well, it's a problem because they're getting shipments that say the expiration date is
Tomorrow.
yeah.
And they're like,
Or no, I
how-
think it was that day.
I think it was tomorrow because they're delivering at night, like for the next day. Because it's not cotillion yet.
Yeah, it is.
Oh, it is?
Yeah.
Oh, never mind. It expires today. Yeah, I know you're right.
Ah.
So, but they're like, how is it expired already? It's like, it's not, but nobody's gonna want product that says it's expired already.
Yeah. I mean, I've seen this happen before, and I've seen companies just put up signs saying anyone marked with this date is actually this date.
Can they not just put like a sticker on it?
They probably could.
Or is legally can they not? And they're like, what if we put new lids on it? And he's like, nope, you cannot do that with health fit. Like, definitely not allowed.
They probably are solutions to this, but I'm not familiar enough with the food and health industry. But then again, neither is this movie because they don't
So
wear
true.
gloves.
So true.
So what are we even talking about?
Yeah. So like, okay, what if we just get a bunch new product
And
right
ship it there
now?
because they're worried about if they miss these shipments, these contracts are going to leave, and if they leave these contracts, they don't have enough business to survive.
Yeah.
Which it's a big deal. I
It is
think
a
that may
really
be a
big
bit
deal.
dramatic for a single mistake on the top of everything else that's been going on, but also when when shit rains, it pours.
Yeah. So Jackson's dad is like, "Well, I'll give you more milk right now," which I don't know how he has this much milk on hand. But
Martha's been working.
Martha's been working like we just had a cow give birth, we're good. And Jackson's like, "No, we can't afford it." And his dad's like, "This is our biggest account. We can't afford them to go out of business."
Both are probably true.
Yeah.
It's an unfortunate situation.
And they're like, "Okay, but if we're trying to make a whole batch, like a week's worth of product or whatever in one night, like we don't have enough people to work." And Courtney's like, "I'll find the people to work.
I
Come
can
on,
do that.
come with me." Like, this is such a stupid idea what she's about to do,
Yeah.
but
So she brings Taylor and Jackson
yeah, to
to
Cotillion.
Cotillion.
And she's like, "Everyone, please. My family, my
And
dad's
she jumps on the
factory.
mic.
My dad's factory needs workers right now because all these families need jobs.
And if I know you're all too rich to care about things like that, but like think about our community.
It feels so good to do something good for people."
Yeah. And main evil girl's like, why should I care?
Yeah, I don't care.
Idiot.
And Courtney's like, "You should care."
And they start fighting over the microphone, but Queen bitch falls in the
She
pool.
falls right in the pool. And then it's like, "Oh, look, the dessert
So
parade."
no one even helps her get out of the pool. They just care about the dessert, which is a fun little meta
It
joke.
was funny. And Courtney's like, "All right, well, I tried, and let's get out of here."
Yeah. So they go back to the factory and they're like, man, we weren't able to get
"Where's your
anything in.
friends? They
And
didn't
the
come."
workers were like, well, shit. Us trained workers that there are already too many of in this assembly line can't do this job.
Shut it down. Like, you could still try to get some of your orders out, right?
Yeah.
Maybe you're not gonna get all of them,
Yeah,
but
I
like,
fully agree.
but she's like, "Shut it down." But then, oh my god, it's our
It's
dad.
Daddy.
He's
And oh my
here.
god, all the friends from the party, they just
We're
all
also
decided to show
here.
up
Yeah,
minutes later.
it's funny. So the one of the girls comes in. She's like, "Yeah, your dad showed up at Cotillion, and we told him everything that happens because apparently we know everything that's happening. And we thought about what you said, and we decided to come and help." Yeah.
So that's pretty wild. And then they just start going
Yeah, they
through.
start
The
working.
dad's like,
Everybody
I got
starts.
the headlines of all the shit that's been going on in the company, and
Yeah,
that's crazy.
the people at the party just knew what was happening.
Well, I mean, it's because Courtney said what was happening.
I guess so.
Yeah. Uh, so they just start working, and everyone is doing good at their job, and they get everything out. Woo!
Yeah, and they get it all in the trucks. And like, "We did it." And the dad's like, "As long as I'm in business, every single one of you has a job."
You're all the best. Woo!
So he can never
Bold
fire
promise.
them. He can never fire them.
Yeah, well, I mean, they kind of saved the company.
That's true. But if I did, I would just start slacking off and be like, you said,
I don't know if it would stand in court.
you said out loud in front of everyone, Your Honor. Your Honor, he said, as long as he's in business, I would have a job." I would record it. I'd be like, "Can you say that again?"
Uh, so he's like, thank you, girls. You guys came through when it mattered the most.
Yeah.
But now I think it's finally time for the spotlight dance.
Yes, finally.
Philippe and Courtney go and have their dance, and the dairy band's playing.
Shine like the crux
Headlights, yeah.
headlights for the spotlight. And they're just like in the parking lot of
Yeah.
the factory. But they get to dance, and then Taylor starts dancing with her dad. And then Jackson comes and cuts in.
And we notice a fun little continuity error where in the scene we can see Heather and Richie are dancing, but then it cuts to a scene of Heather and Richie joining the dance floor, like, hey, I guess we can dance.
Yeah, I don't know why they're like, "Yeah, let's put these two together. These two, like, nothing characters, as if it matters at all."
So we cut to the family at the home where the dad's calculating how much money they
Yeah,
lost.
they're like, how is it? How bad is it?" And he's like, "We're basically starting
This
over."
is where I feel like it should be like, oh, the money is tied up in like we
And
can't
court or
get it back.
something.
It would be like held in escrow. So we can't. We're really gonna have to like struggle for a bit, but we will get it back eventually.
Yeah,
But no, they're acting like the money's just gone and they can't do anything.
Bob took it and
Maybe
he
he
has
went.
it forever.
Maybe he went to a place with like immunity, which it would be wild. But
Yeah,
even then, there would be ways to get it back.
they never talk about getting the money back or putting Bob in jail. They're just like, "Damn, I guess he can do that. I guess he can just take the money and
So the
run."
moral of this story is Bob did stuff wrong, but it was completely within his right to do it.
Like, why would you do it when it's so obviously illegal and you are going to get caught? He set this up so like the dad was gone and unreachable and he could take off. Like maybe he knew he'd get away with it.
Yeah. The girls are told they can't have any more shopping sprees, any vacations or anything.
No.
They're sad about that.
Yeah.
Uh then finally the dad the next day is waking up and
Mhm.
he's going to
Yeah,
work.
and the maid's like, "Where's the girls?" And he's like, "Oh, I shut off their alarms because I don't want to have to make them work after they saved the
Yeah,
company."
like they deserve a day off,
Yeah.
which is kind and
It's
cute.
cute.
But he gets in his car and the girls pop up because they
Yeah.
wanted to go work.
Yeah, and they're like, "If we're at the factory all day, it means we can't go to the mall, so we won't spend money." And he's like, "All right, fair enough."
And then we get the credits.
It's
That's the
really
movie.
cute. Yeah, so that's the whole movie. That's Cowbells.
That's cowbells. Uh as I was saying throughout, I think it just this movie survives by posing some interesting questions,
Yeah.
despite the fact that the movie is kind of a weird structure. But also, like I like Ali and AJ's
Yeah.
performances enough, even if their characters are kind of illogical. I like
Yeah.
the general plot; it's very unique for
The
a DCOM,
the characters are endearing. The conflict would have been done better for sure. But overall, like
it's
it
interesting.
it brings one of the most interesting conflicts I've ever seen in a DCOM. That really makes you think about like what's right.
For being a decom formula movie, because it still is. It's a
Yeah.
rich girl learns to be nice
Yeah.
movie. It is the most interesting concept for one of those by far.
Yeah. And it's like the Ali and AJ movie, which is fun. It's like cute hometown dairy. We're from the Midwest, so that's like very much um going on here. And I just didn't give this movie enough credit. So final Jank House ranking was 38.
Which
Benji
is
has
pretty high.
that's pretty high. Benji has 37.
I think,
And
yeah, that was the bottom of my A tier, which still kind of feels accurate to me.
yeah, I had it way lower at 53 in my C tier. I would move it to B.
Which I think is a valid take. I mean, at the
Yeah.
bottom of my A tier, where I feel like there's just enough special going on there that I wanted to give it its
Yeah.
credit, give it due.
And it is like fairly high in my C tier, but I would move it up
A tier.
to B tier because I think, or at least at like the one of the very top of my C tier. Like I think it does deserve more credit, and I like this movie more than I remember. I remember thinking like, gosh, why does everybody in our house, like our all of our roommates, like this movie more than me? And I just needed to watch it again.
Sometimes you figured out the magic more. I'm happy I got to take the notes on this one, so you just got to appreciate it more.
Yeah, yeah. No, I think it's just fun. It's not like a masterpiece or anything, but I think it's a pretty good time.
It is not a waste of time, which a lot of these decoms are.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay. Thank you guys so much for listening to us talk about cowbells.
Hopefully, this episode turns out all right. Again, we're trying new stuff with audio, so if stuff is weird, we apologize. We're gonna work to get it better.
Yeah. Now it's time to spin the wheel for our next movie. What do you think it's gonna be?
Ooh, what do I think it's gonna be? What do I think it's gonna be? Good Luck Charlie is Christmas.
Whoa. I think it's gonna be the other me. I hope so.
Classic, The Other Me,
Need to delete Peter Girl.
the Allison Pill connection of all time.
Whoa. Okay,
Whoa.
it's a sequel.
It's a sequel.
Well, actually, I should correct myself. It's a sequel.
Oh my
Xenon the
god.
sequel.
Xenon the sequel.
Yeah.
They love their Z's.
They love their Z's. Xenon the sequel, it is time. Because we have talked about Xenon, Girl of the 21st Century already.
Now we're going to talk about Xenon, the girl of the 22nd century.
Xenon the sequel. Oh my god.
All right.
Tune in 2 weeks for us to talk about Xenon the sequel. And we'll see you then.
Yeah. Email us at the DCOMduo@gmail.com if you want. Bye.
Yeah, bye.
Scenes
Scenes.
from our
Oh,
next episode. You didn't want to say it at the same time?
oh, okay, we can. Scenes
Scenes from
from
our
our next
next episode.
episode.
Oh, Margie. Why are you back but not Greg?
We're back on Earth, but Greg's not
Oh
here.
my god, is that Protozoa
Protozoa,
of famous band Microbe?
you have to sing another song.
Oh, we have to walk through this spider web instead of just going right around the tree.
I literally don't remember the plot of this. Was there an alien, or was that the third one?
I do feel like I get Z2 and Z3 combined. I just remember Margie is
Margie's
in this
back.
one. Guess who's back? Back again.
Nebula looks different.
Not Greg. There's a different romance plot.
Yeah.
And it's different in the third one, too.
Yeah. How exciting!
What? We didn't even do any fucking Xenon slang.
Oh shit. This is crazy major.
This movie sucks major ass.
I tubular. No, that's
Cetus Lapidus.
It's Lapidus. I can't remember a thing about this
You
movie.
can't just think about Xenon 1. You can do this, babe. I believe in
Read
you.
my flapping lips.